Hi everyone, welcome back to Motivate. I'm Dr. Mohi Saraugi, a GP by profession, and like many of you, endlessly curious about why we feel the way we feel. Over the past few weeks, we've been exploring what I call the inner orchestra, the molecules that steady us, connect us, protect us, and propel us. We've met serotonin, the steady hand on the wheel, and oxytocin, the warm hearted connector. Soon, we'll get to endorphins and cortisol. My goal through this whole series is simple. By the end of the year, I want you to understand what shapes your inner experience, your moods, your drive, your stress, your joy, and what you can actually do to balance them so you step into the new year feeling a little more anchored, a little more in charge of your own rhythms. And as the temperatures drop, I feel like all of us need a little extra nudge, something between motivation and motivation. Winter has this way of making the duvet feel morally superior to everything else. So today felt like the right day to talk about the molecule that gives life its pull, the spark that makes you lean forward dopamine. Recently during consultations, I've been asking children what they want to be when they grow up. A surprising number say neurosurgeon. Ask a medical student what broke them, and the answer is unanimous neuroanatomy. I still have my neuroanatomy book, not because I loved it, but because I survived it. Some of us genuinely cried over those cranial nerve diagrams at 2 a.m. But there was always one thing that fascinated me more than structures: the why behind a heartbeat, the how behind a feeling, the tiny mechanisms that shift a mood, a decision, even a life. Dopamine sits right at that crossroads where the physical becomes behavioral and where reactions become patterns. Our brains often tell stories long before we find the words for them, and dopamine appears in that story more often than we realize. With that, let's step into the science of dopamine and the stories it shapes. So, what is dopamine? Despite what the internet tells you, dopamine is not pleasure in a molecule. It's not a hit or a rush. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger your brain uses to organize movement, motivation, curiosity, reinforcement, and that internal tug that says, go on, try again. It's what makes you lean forward into life. Your brain makes dopamine from an amino acid called tyrosine, found in foods like dairy, nuts, lentils, and poultry. Most dopamine producing neurons sit in two powerful regions of the midbrain: the substantia nigra, a strip of dark cells that helps you initiate and coordinate movement. When dopamine drops here, we see Parkinson's disease, tremor, stiffness, slowed movement. And then the ventral tegmental area, your motivation engine, where the brain learns to pursue something, repeat something, and care about something. From here, dopamine moves along pathways that shape habit, motivation, and meaning: the nigrostriatal pathway, the mesolimbic pathway, the mesocortical pathway, and even a quieter route from the hypothalamus to the pituitary. I'll spare you the detailed anatomy because through all these pathways, the underlying mechanism is the same. A little history here because I love including it. In the 1950s, Swedish scientist Arvid Carlsson discovered that dopamine was a neurotransmitter in its own right, not just a stepping stone to another molecule. His work reshaped our understanding of Parkinson's disease and earned him a Nobel Prize. So that's where dopamine lives. But what truly matters is how dopamine shapes the experience of being human. Pop psychology loves calling it the reward chemical, but physiology has a much more interesting explanation. Dopamine is not reward, it handles anticipation, the movement toward reward. Think of that moment when you're waiting for a message, the urge to click next episode at midnight, or the pull to check notifications even when you know nothing's arrived. That's dopamine, the chemistry of maybe. It follows a principle called reward prediction error. In simple terms, your brain responds not to the reward itself, but to whether the reward was better or worse than expected. Better than expected, dopamine rises. Worse than expected, dopamine dips. Exactly predicted, nothing changes. This mechanism explains so much human behavior: why surprise feels thrilling, why disappointment feels physically heavy, why repetition becomes dull, and why even tiny novelty wakes you up. It also explains why dopamine is involved in so many conditions and personality patterns. ADHD, where dopamine signaling is less efficient, making focus feel like trying to catch mist with your hands. Addictive behaviors, not because they create pleasure, but because they create unpredictability. And dopamine loves unpredictability. Restless leg syndrome, where dopamine pathways affect movement at night. So, remember this: dopamine is about the anticipation. It's the spark that says, that might matter, let's move. Without dopamine, motivation collapses, movement becomes effortful, even hope feels heavier, because hope itself is a form of anticipation. So when I say dopamine gives life its direction, I'm not being poetic. I'm trying to explain you physiology. It's the molecule of what's next. Now that we understand what dopamine is, let's talk about how it shows up in real life. Because dopamine shapes so much of what we do long before we realize it. You feel it every day without ever putting a name to it. Dopamine and your phone. Every swipe, every ping on your phone, none of that is accidental. Most platforms use intermittent reinforcement, the same principle behind slot machines. Why? Because dopamine responds most strongly to unpredictable rewards. You don't know which message or notification will contain something exciting, so your dopamine system keeps you checking just in case. And it's not a sign of addiction or weakness. Your brain is simply doing what it was built to do: anticipate. The notification itself isn't exciting, the possibility is. That's dopamine. Then, if you've ever stared at the typing bubble and felt your heart flip, you felt dopamine's reward prediction error in real time. Dopamine surges in the waiting far more than in the receiving. The message you expect feels normal. The one you hope for feels electric. The one you don't get feels heavier than it should. When someone suddenly goes silent, that dip in your chest is not drama. It's dopamine withdrawing its anticipation. And this is why ghosting stings more than we expect. Your brain had already predicted a sequence, and then nothing. The gap between what you expected and what you received, that's the dopamine dip, the biology of disappointment. Then, dopamine and novelty. Dopamine loves novelty: a new idea, a new face, a new restaurant, a new project. Anything that shifts the pattern wakes the system. We'll come back to how different brains handle novelty in the little quiz coming up. Then, procrastination. Procrastination is often a dopamine mismatch. If the brain can't sense an immediate reward, it delays effort. This is why something that felt impossible at 4 p.m. suddenly becomes doable at 11 p.m. Urgency boosts dopamine. The last minute, oh fine, I'll just do it now energy, is your nervous system bribing itself into action. Then, dopamine and perfectionism. Perfectionism is often a dopamine loop, not enjoying the achievement but chasing the next fix of almost there. Dopamine loves progress, but it's terrible at recognizing enough. Then, learning. Dopamine is the reason you improve at anything. Every time your brain succeeds, even in the smallest way, dopamine reinforces the pathway. It highlights it like a mental highlighter. Try, fail, then try again, succeed, reinforced. It's the brilliant science of mastery. Then restlessness. You know that feeling, exhausted but still scrolling, foggy but unable to sit still? That's dopamine mixed with cortisol, a system overstimulated in anticipation but deprived of closure. It's like revving an engine with no finish line. When dopamine is balanced, it gives you direction. When it's overstimulated, it gives you overwhelm. When it's depleted, it gives you doubt. Most of us aren't addicted to our phones or to people or to novelty. We are simply running brains that were wired for real world threats in a world of endless notifications. Now that we've seen dopamine in daily life, let's go deeper into how it shapes you. Dopamine influences temperament, energy, rhythm, how you enter a room, how you make decisions, what you chase, and what you protect. Some brains are wired for momentum, some for meaning. Most of us fall somewhere in between. So, let's take a tiny dopamine preference quiz. Nothing official, just an honest look at how your brain likes to move. The first one is high dopamine profiles. Let's call them the sprinters. These are the people who think fast, leap before they look. They love being spontaneous. They feel alive in beginnings, start 10 projects at once, and they thrive in chaos and creativity. Their emotional world moves in peaks. Big excitement, big momentum. They thrive in motion, not because they are reckless, but because they are wired for possibility. Then there are lower dopamine profiles. Let's call them the anchors. These are the people who warm up slowly. They prefer depth over speed. They enjoy routine and rhythm. Think before they leap. Finish what they start. And they feel most themselves in steadiness. Their world moves in curves, not peaks. Steady, continuous, thoughtful. They are not cautious out of fear. They are cautious because their dopamine rewards certainty more than novelty. They thrive in meaning. Most of us are a blend, but we tend to lean toward one style. Neither is better nor lesser. They are simply different internal architectures, two nervous systems trying to understand each other's pace. And in my experience, life very often requires both. When I look at people around me, at work, in friendships, in family, I can almost see these patterns play out in real time, my unofficial PhD. And the beautiful part is, the balance works. On that note, I'd genuinely love to know, which lane do you think you fall into? And can you see these traits in the people you love or work with? People often say lower dopamine personalities need someone slow, but I've learned something different. Sometimes the lower dopamine mind is the steadying force in a high dopamine world. They are not the brake, they are the balance, the gravity around which fast moving lives realign. And high dopamine personalities bring a spark, a brightness, a kind of movement that lifts the world back into possibility again. Dopamine reminds us that brains are behavioral, emotional, relational. And sometimes life brings you people whose dopamine moves at a different rhythm to yours. Someone whose energy lifts the room while yours anchors it. It teaches something simple and quietly profound. The most beautiful connections are built on balance, not sameness, whether in relationships, friendships, or the teams we work in. And on a lighter note, I do think dating apps should hire doctors as consultants. Half of modern attraction is just dopamine working behind the scenes. We might as well help people interpret the science, because so much of what we call chemistry really is chemistry. Now that we've explored pathways, let's talk about something more actionable. How do we support a healthy dopamine system? What we are really aiming for is a level that gives your life direction without rushing you through it. So let's begin. Number one, the power of small wins. Dopamine releases when your brain detects progress. So instead of one overwhelming task, break it into three smaller ones. Every completed step becomes a reward signal. This is why finishing a paragraph feels doable when writing a whole essay feels impossible. Small wins stabilize dopamine, big wins spike it. Balance lives in the middle. Then, novelty. Our brain needs novelty, just not the kind that exhausts you. You don't need to change countries or careers. Switching cafes, choosing a new recipe, taking a different route home all count as micro novelty. Tiny pattern shifts wake up the mesolimbic pathway without overwhelming the nervous system. Think of it as new, not chaotic, refreshing, not destabilizing. Then, deep focus time. Dopamine loves completion. A short burst of uninterrupted focus creates a beautiful dopamine arc. Rise, then work, complete, and finally satisfaction. Even 20 minutes of protected time tells your brain this matters, stay with it. This activates the mesocortical pathway, the one linking dopamine to meaning and purpose. Set a timer. One task, one stretch of time. Your brain will thank you. Then, movement, the most natural dopamine regulator. Dopamine is motor, the reason behind initiation and movement. This is why a walk resets you in ways scrolling never will. Aerobic movement increases dopamine availability in a steady, sustainable way. Walking, cycling, swimming, dancing. Move your body, and dopamine moves with you into a healthier rhythm. Then, food. Dopamine is made from tyrosine, found in dairy, eggs, lentils, soy, nuts, seeds, fish, poultry. Your body needs nourishment, not hacks. And a quick word about the dopamine patches circulating in the wellness world. I've tried some. Ideally, I would like my money back. But since it's the season of being kind, we'll simply thank them for giving hope its moment to shine, because it certainly wasn't the physiology. For clarity, the actual medical patches people sometimes confuse these with, like rotigotine, don't deliver dopamine. They mimic dopamine in conditions like Parkinson's disease, a completely different purpose. They are medical treatments, not motivational stickers. Food supports dopamine. Pharmacy treats dopamine. Instagram markets dopamine. Then sleep. Dopamine receptors reset during sleep. This is why everything feels heavier after a poor night. What you need is consistent sleep. Your nervous system learns safety through rhythm. Then reduce overstimulation. Your brain wasn't designed for constant pinging, scrolling, switching, refreshing. Too much stimulation floods dopamine, then drains it. Pick one window a day, even 10 minutes, when nothing is demanding your attention. Your dopamine system will quietly recalibrate. Then, meaningful connection. Oxytocin and dopamine are dance partners. When one rises, the other steadies. Meaningful conversations, laughter, shared moments, human warmth, these balance dopamine in a way screens cannot. Then, purpose. Dopamine's long arc. Short term dopamine is spark. Long term dopamine is direction. A goal, even a small one, gives your brain a future target. Purpose doesn't always need to be profound, it just needs to be yours. And finally, rest, the underrated dopamine medicine. A healthy dopamine system needs pauses, simple moments where your brain is not chasing or predicting. Rest stabilizes the baseline so excitement can rise again when it should. If you take one thing from today, dopamine is often described as a molecule of anticipation and motivation. But when you listen closely, it's also the molecule of possibility. It's the beautiful biology of hope, the voice of maybe I could try again. And like hope, dopamine needs balance. Too much, and life feels noisy and overwhelming. Too little, and life feels heavy, flat, and colorless. Dopamine gives life its direction. You give it meaning. You choose the pace. You choose the moments that matter. I hope something today stirred a thought, gave you a smile, or simply made you pause. Whatever time it is where you are, I hope you carry a little feel good factor with you. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Mohi. Until next time, stay motivated. May your life find steadiness, your efforts find ease, and your hopes, whatever shape they take, move you gently towards something that feels like coming home to yourself.